Cate Blanchett, one of the biggest movie stars in the world, the greatest actor of her generation. It was for a one-on-one photo shoot for a big magazine cover, and then she went to sleep. And I couldn't wake her up. Hi, I'm Adam Knott. Welcome to my channel, where I give you an insight into the world of celebrity and the stories behind my photographs. My one-on-one photo shoot with Cate Blanchett and how it all went wrong. But I recovered, I think. Let's get to it. The backstory. Cate Blanchett, considered one of the greatest actors of her generation. She's so highly thought of in the film industry and in theatre. She's won Oscars, BAFTAs, Golden Globes. She's done it all. And I was getting to photograph her and I was so excited. The brief. This is for a magazine cover and a double-page spread. And it's for a big magazine. And the editor said, we're paying for the hair and the makeup, but we're not paying for a stylist. I was like, what? You're not paying for a stylist? Now, the stylist is the one who brings in the clothes for the celebrity. They will bring a whole rack of clothes, and along with the celebrity, they'll work out which dress or which garment will look best on the celebrity for the shoot. The photographer will be involved, sometimes managers will be involved, hair and makeup will be involved, but this particular magazine said they couldn't afford to pay for a stylist. So Cate, being the trooper that she is, she said, that's okay, I'll bring some of my dresses. I was just blown away. When I've worked on a lot of these big celebrity shoots in Los Angeles, you always have a stylist. It just goes without saying. But for some reason this magazine couldn't afford it and they didn't want to. Now it was to the magazine's advantage that they give Cate a stylist. Cate was doing them a favour. Cate didn't have to be on the cover of this magazine. Cate had actually been away from publicity for about 12 months because she just had a child and she was, I think, having a rest from work and from publicity. So she was doing them a big favour. But this is what magazines can be like sometimes. They can be funny. But I thought, we'll get through it. At least she's bringing her own clothes. I know she's going to have great clothes of her own. She always looks great. Cate Blanchett always looks great in anything that she wears. So I was still feeling excited. Before the shoot. Now, stars of Cate's quality always get photographer approval. They get to choose which photographers can photograph them. And I understand, it's their image. Their image is so important. They didn't ask to see any of my portfolios, so I just assumed that Cate and her people must have looked at my website. And they must have been like, okay, there's no reason not to hire Adam or use Adam, and I thought they seemed quite confident with the job I was about to do. Normally, what happens is they ask to see your portfolio, or they ask to see a certain style of photograph. They'll say, can you show us this photograph that you did against a white background? Because the brief for this job was to photograph Cate against white. So I didn't get any briefs like this. I didn't get any queries from the PR, the managers, or Cate's people. So I just assumed everything was going to run smoothly. The photo studio. The photography studio is where we photograph the stars. Now, in the big photography studios in New York and LA and in Paris, they'll often have restaurants, they'll have places to get manicures, pedicures, there'll be saunas, spas. They are these beautiful areas where the stars get photographed. They have all the amenities and they look glorious. This particular studio that I worked in was in a basement. It was next to an underground car park. And the reason that is because the magazine didn't want to hire a studio. And I said to them, I said, listen, you're going to make a bad first impression with one of the world's biggest stars. I said, she is used to having this type of treatment. I said, we want her to feel good when she arrives on the photo shoot. And the editor looked at me and said, tough. You've got a studio downstairs in the car park, that will have to do. So this is what you're up against sometimes as a photographer. You're expected to produce world quality or world class images, but sometimes you'll find that the magazines don't support you like they should. But I'm a photographer and I had a job to do. Now, I have done a lot of celebrity shoots, mainly in LA, where we have a lot of people on set. Sometimes it's 20, 25 people. It could be the hair person, the makeup person, the stylist, then they all have assistants. I will have assistants. Sometimes I might have two assistants. Sometimes I'll have up to 5 assistants. Then you might have a manager, then you might have a PR person, they have an assistant. So there are all these people there on the shoot. And then on top of that, you might have people there from the magazine. You might have the art director, the creative director, you might even have the editor. On this particular shoot, there was 3 of us, and that was it. There was Cate, the hair and makeup, and then there was me. It was a very small shoot. I think Cate wanted it that way. She hadn't been in the public eye for over a year, so I think she wanted it small and intimate. But this studio in the basement, in the underground car park, was making me upset. I thought, this is going to be a really bad first impression. And when it comes to Hollywood, first impressions are a lasting impression. You want to make a good impression when you first meet a celebrity if you want to work with them. You want to make sure that they have confidence in you. And I felt like Cate wasn't going to have confidence in me, just simply because of the fact that she was going to have to catch an elevator down to the basement, walk through an underground car park. There's no light, no natural light in the underground car park. It literally is a basement of a building. And then go into this photography studio, which had seen better days. It was basically an empty box of a studio, and it just had all my lights in it. The hair and makeup room was a converted storage closet. And all it had was a couple of chairs and a mirror. So it was really a rough setup. The arrival. Cate arrived with no entourage, no one else, just Cate by herself. She had like a handbag in one hand, and in the other hand, she had a clothing bag with some dresses in it. Like, that was Cate. She didn't have an assistant, she didn't have a PA, a personal assistant, she didn't even have their publicity person there. It was just Cate by herself. And I thought, wow, this is one of the biggest stars in the world, and I could tell she was just so down to earth. So I introduced myself, and we went to the elevator. We got it down to the underground car park. We walked through it, and I was trying to make small talk, chat, and I asked her, do you have a preferred side, Cate, that you'd like to be photographed from? And she's like, no, I don't mind. But I could see her eyes looking around as we were walking through the car park, and then we got to the studio. And then I showed her the makeup room, which was the old storage closet. And she put her clothes down, and I said, the hair and makeup people will be here soon. I said, I'll go out to the studio and I'll get the lights set up. And she was like, oh, good, thank you. And so I left her in the hair and makeup room, and I went out to the studio, and I already had the lights set up. Now, when you're photographing any celebrity, especially a big one, you make sure that you have 2 setups going at once. Now, the reason that is you don't want to waste the celebrity's time. Celebrities generally are very time poor, and also they don't like their time wasted. And this is the same for a lot of busy people. No one likes to have their time wasted. So no one likes to stand around and wait for the photographer to set up lights. So I always make sure I've got 2 setups going. So the first setup, the celebrity will come in, sit there, stand there, and you'll do the shoot. And then once you've finished with that one, they can quickly go and get changed into the next outfit and then move to the second setup. Now, while we're shooting in the second setup, an assistant or assistants, they come over to the first setup, they tear that down and move that to another location in the studio or the location, and they get that ready. So when we're finished at this setup, we just simply moved it, and you do that, basically you can do that all day. So the celebrity just moves from one setup to the other. So I just went out there and made sure both setups were working. And as I was working away, putting up lights or whatever, next minute Cate is standing beside me. I'm like, oh, hi Cate. And she said to me, and very politely, she said, Adam, can you show me, or can you tell me how you photographed the other women in this shoot? There were going to be other women within the magazine who were going to be photographed against white. I said, oh, sure, Cate, I'm going to photograph you against white, and I'm going to, make you look as, beautiful as ever, and you're going to look fantastic. And she looked at me and she said, Adam, the white walls, they're actually grey. I said, yeah, I'm sorry about that, but I can still make them white. The studio walls were grey because they were dirty. The studio was that old and decrepit. No one had painted the walls. They wouldn't give me the money to buy the paint to paint them, but you can, with lighting, make them go white. So I could understand what she was saying, but I also know too, from my celebrity shooting experience, is when a celebrity asks you to show them examples or give them examples, they're about to do a walk. They're about to go. I could tell that she didn't have much confidence in what was happening today. I thought, oh no, she's going to walk. And I said, listen, Cate, why didn't I go upstairs, get some proof sheets of the other women that I photographed for this issue, and you can rest assured, I can show you how I'll do it. She's like, okay, that's good. So I raced upstairs, because we were on the 4th floor where the magazine was. I printed out some proof sheets of one particular woman that I'd photographed. Her name is Jana Wendt. She's one of the great 60 Minutes journalists. She's a big journalist in Australia, still is. She writes books, she's an author. Of course she's an author if she writes books, but she's more than that, she's one of the great journalists. And she's worked internationally, she's a really well-respected woman, and I'd photographed her many times over the years, and I thought, Jana won't mind if I show Cate the photographs of her, because I thought I did a beautiful job of Jana. And also, Jana is 13 years older than Cate. So I thought, if I can show Cate that I photographed somebody who's a lot older than her, and I made them look good, then that might give Cate some confidence in me. So I printed these proof sheets out, I ran back downstairs, and I get to the studio, and there's Cate standing outside the hair and makeup studio with her clothes bag on her arm. And I thought, oh no, she's getting ready to go. I thought she's had enough, and I don't blame her. I really didn't blame her at all. I've only had this happen to me once on another photo shoot, and it was Cindy Crawford. We were working in a big studio in LA, and she actually did a runner, or she walked off the shoot before I got any photographs whatsoever. It wasn't my fault, and I know that's probably what all photographers say if a celebrity walks off a shoot, but it really wasn't. And Cindy had promised me that she was going to give me a shoot at a later date, but that never happened. But that's okay. That's okay. I understand. I do understand these things. So I showed Cate the proof sheets or the photographs of Jana Wendt. And Cate looked at them. Before she said anything, I said, Cate, this is how I want to photograph you. Just beautiful and wonderful against white. And she looked at the photographs of Jana, and in that beautiful Cate Blanchett voice was like, oh, isn't Jana gorgeous? Isn't she a striking woman? Oh, these are beautiful. And I was like, oh, phew. So I knew then that things were going to be okay. I liked how she gave Jana all the compliments. She thought Jana looked beautiful, and she did. She's a beautiful woman. But I thought, what about the photographer? I photographed her. I made her look. I helped make her look beautiful, but I thought, that's okay. She's not doing a runner, she's staying. And I thought, we're on our way. So I could rest assured, and then Cate went in, and then she started the hair and makeup. Now, I do understand why Cate was possibly thinking of leaving the shoot. Stars of her caliber, their image is everything. And also, we didn't make a good first impression, the studio. I know it wasn't my fault, and I know I keep saying it's not my fault, but it sort of is. You know, I'm the photographer, it is my job. But I do understand why their image is so important. And also the still images, they get shown quite often a lot more than the actual movies or the products the celebrities make. So the still images are vital, and they seem to last for a long, long time. They keep getting published and republished and on social media now, so they keep getting reused. And the other thing is too, I just spent 13 years in Los Angeles working for People magazine. Maybe Cate and her people had done some research on me, and maybe they had seen some of the photographic shoots I'd done on People magazine. I used to get celebrities jumping and swimming in their pools, sometimes getting them to do silly things. Maybe they did see those pictures. Maybe she was a bit worried that I was going to photograph her like that. I'm not sure, but she was staying, and that's the main thing. So, an hour goes by. Cate's in there getting her hair and makeup done. I'm excited, I'm relieved, I'm ready for action. And then all of a sudden, the hair and makeup people come up and they say, "Oh, Cate's asleep." I'm like, what? I thought normally hair and makeup can take 2 to 3 hours. But the hair and makeup people came out after an hour and they said, "Oh, Cate's asleep." And I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "Oh, she's asleep." I was like, okay. And so what I did, I quietly snuck into the hair and makeup room, and there she was. She was asleep, and she had her hands or arms down by the side, and she had her head down, and she was just slumped back in the chair like that. And I thought, is she asleep? She doesn't look like she's breathing. I thought, what's happened? I thought, my God, I've killed Cate Blanchett. I've killed Cate Blanchett. I think it affected me so much I can't even get the words out. I thought I swear she wasn't breathing. She was just slumped like this. And I thought, what's happened? Has she been poisoned or what's going on? And I thought, oh my goodness, I photographed Audrey Hepburn's last photo shoot. I thought, this is going to be Cate Blanchett's last photo shoot. But then I saw her chest rise and I was like, phew. She's breathing. I thought, okay, I'm safe again. And why did Cate Blanchett fall asleep on my photo shoot? I found out during the shoot after she'd woken up, because she came and she apologised to me. And I said, "Oh, Cate, don't worry about that." You know, you're obviously exhausted. And she said, "Yes, I've just had my third child." And she had just spent the entire night up with the baby. And the night before, she'd been to, I think, one of her son's plays at her local school. And she hadn't got much sleep, and she was absolutely exhausted. But that's also Cate, and that's what's so great about Cate. She is so normal and down to earth. One minute she's acting in a huge Hollywood blockbuster, then she's acting in a stage play for a famous theatre company, then she's in Europe doing a play, then she's looking after her kids. She juggles it all, and she really is to be admired. And just her coming to the photo shoot, I may have mistaken that she didn't have confidence in me or my photography. I have a feeling it may have been because she was absolutely exhausted. And I was just so appreciative that she stayed and she gave me so much for the photo shoot. The iron. So Cate wakes up from her nap and she comes to me and she says, "Adam, do we have an iron? I need to iron my dress." I was quite mortified. First of all, a star or a celebrity shouldn't be ironing their own clothes, but because we didn't provide a stylist, which is a stylist normally does the ironing, she has to iron her own clothes. And I was like, "Oh, of course we do, Cate. I'll run upstairs and see if we've got one." And so I ran upstairs and I saw the photo editor, and they were like, "Oh, no, we haven't had an iron in the studio for about 5 years." And I was like, "What do you mean we don't have an iron?" And I said, "We've got to get an iron from somewhere." And so the photo editor hopped in their car, drove into the city, and went to a clothing store and asked them, they said, do you have an iron? And they said, no, but we have a steamer. And she was like, perfect. Can we borrow the steamer? It's for a Cate Blanchett photo shoot. And the store said, only if one of the girls who works at the store can go to the shoot. And so the photo editor said, yes, of course, that's fine. So the photo editor brings the girl back from the store with the steamer. I take the steamer into the studio. Cate steams her own clothes, which is, I'm still mortified. But anyway, and so we're there on the shoot, and the girl from the store is standing off to the shoot. And remember, it was a very intimate shoot, and there was only 3 of us there. And this girl is standing off to the side, and Cate suddenly looks at me, and she looks at the girl, and she says, and you are, who are you? And the girl introduces herself, and she said, oh, I work at the such and such store, and I brought the steamer. And Cate looked at me, and she said, Adam, I thought it was your steamer. I said, no, we don't actually have a steamer or an iron. I said, we haven't had one for 5 years. And she just looked at me and smiled, and it was like we both knew that this was just ridiculous. A professional photography studio that doesn't have an iron or an ironing board. But we had the steamer, and the photo editor and the girl from the store, they saved the day. The shoot. So we did some lovely shots of Cate standing. I had her looking off camera. There's a lovely series here of her laughing. But I also hired a very stylish looking chair. And we did a series of Cate sitting on the chair. So we got some great shots of Cate Blanchett, beautiful portraits, but I also got some nice spontaneous shots of her laughing. So I will always be appreciative to Cate for giving me so much of herself on this shoot. And I hope you like the shots too. Remember, I've got some great playlists of other celebrity shoots that I've done. I've also got courses, books and workbooks you can look at. And also don't forget to subscribe and like below. That would help me a lot. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.